After a fortnight's break, Formula 1 is returning this weekend to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. And of course, a lot of teams are bringing some upgrades for this event. None so more than the big four teams. That, of course, includes Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, and a few other teams a little bit lower down the pack. Some of these teams we know are bringing specific upgrades, while some we do not actually have the true details behind what they are bringing. But nonetheless, it is going to be an interesting Grand Prix weekend with the specifics of this circuit. One of the teams that we have concrete information on regarding their upgrades for this weekend is, of course, Ferrari. Now, we've known for a couple of weekends now that they will be bringing a new floor for the Canadian Grand Prix. And there is, of course, that other instance of a speculative hope within the fan base of Ferrari that they may be able to actually introduce the rear suspension for this event. I do not believe that is the case, and I think we have to still wait a couple of rounds for the team to actually introduce this onto the SF25. But of course, a lot of these upgrades are going to be working in tandem with the upgrades they bought at the previous events, where they introduced in Barcelona a updated front wing alongside the technical directive update, which of course was all about the flexibility of the front wings. Now, this floor that they will be bringing for Montreal, I suspect is going to see slight changes, slight differences within the main points of the floor. We're probably going to see changes to the leading floor edge. We're going to see maybe slight alterations to the front of the floor fences, which of course are the openings for the Venturi tunnels. So I suspect some of the changes cosmetically we will not be able to see because they're going to be underneath the floor, away from prying eyes such as ourselves and all of the other teams. Now, what this will do in terms of Ferrari's fortunes for the Canadian event, only time will tell. And we know they had quite an abysmal weekend at this place last season. And that was coming off the back of Monaco, where they were fantastic. So do not expect from what you saw in Monaco to translate here in Canada. That is not going to be the case potentially. But anything will be better than a double DNF like they experienced last time out. Mercedes are another team we know will be bringing small updates to the W16. And of course, after quite a difficult few race weekends now, they need to really start to get a grips on the essentially tyre management, their thermal management, overheating the tyres, degrading them quicker than their closest rivals. It is leaving them with a lot of work in the races to contend with. And this is in far cry and in contrast to how they begun the season. To begin the season, they were very much the second force behind that of McLaren on numerous occasions. So these upgrades are all about helping strengthen this weakness that has become the trait of the W16 across recent Grand Prix weekends. Whether this is enough to bridge the gap in race pace to the likes of McLaren, Red Bull and even Ferrari, who have a superior race pace, only time will tell. Speaking of McLaren, they're one of those teams we know will be bringing some sort of upgrade for this weekend. We just do not know what it is. It could be the smallest of changes on a particular part of the MCL 39, kind of like what we saw with Ferrari in Barcelona, where they made a subtle change to the front wing end plates. It could be something as small as that, or it could be, since they have not bought a major upgrade to their car really this season, quite a big one. Whether that's the case, I do not believe it to be that. I think the first major upgrade package I would suspect they'll be saving for the home Grand Prix of the team at Silverstone, of course, in the UK. I think that is when I suspect and expect as well to see a major upgrade. I believe McLaren may bring a much more smaller rear wing, the smallest of the rear wings that they have for 2025, because of course Montreal has hardly any high speed corners. It is all about traction, slow speed and medium speed corners, so they do not need to have a big barn door of a rear ring for this event, much like all of the other teams. So be on the lookout for smaller rear rings across the board this weekend. And as for the other teams, there is not too much information as regarding what they will be bringing, if anything at all. But for Sauber, or Kick Sauber as they're called this season, it is going to be an weekend for them to further calibrate and to fine-tune the big upgrade package which secured them their best finishing result in at least a couple of years, with a 5th place finish for Nico Hülkenberg. Of course, last time out in Barcelona, their major upgrade package was its debut, and of course there is still a lot of fine tinkering and tuning with regards to how you set the car up, and there will be a lot of learnings taken from that 5th place and just the whole weekend in general, from which they will look to kind of strengthen where the upgrade took them. And of course they will look to make sure that happens this weekend in Montreal. Now, as for my predictions, I think this is a bona fide McLaren circuit. They have amazing traction, amazing low and medium speed prowess with their MCL 39, and I expect them to cakewalk the event. I think it's going to be an easy 1-2, and I believe we're going to see another Piastri win. I think he's going to find it a little bit easier with this circuit just to get to grips than Lando Norris, but who knows. I think it'll be very close in qualifying, and as usual there will be a little bit of a gap in the race as a result of maybe Verstappen, since he's always there, coming in between the two drivers, or maybe even Charles Leclerc if Ferrari can actually hit the ground running for this weekend. But yeah, if you're expecting anything other than a McLaren win, don't be expecting nothing of. So yeah, if you expect anything then a McLaren win, you may be in for a disappointment. And that is where I'm going to wrap this upgraded video for the Canadian Grand Prix. Hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, do leave a like on the video. And if you're new here to F1 Unraveled and have enjoyed the content, hit the subscribe button down below. Catch you all over the Canadian weekend. See you later.